Hello, everyone. Once again, Tribune Now's Spotlight, the lifestyle show, comes to you live from the Daily Tribune office in Makati City. This is Jojo Silvestre of the Daily Tribune Lifestyle section. I'm with Comfy Manalo, our advertising head, who is also our specialist when it comes to diplomatic matters. He always attends these diplomatic cocktails and national days. Today, we are privileged and honored to have with us the cultural attaché of the United States Embassy in the Philippines, Mr. Matt Keener. Hello.
Thank you,
Keener.
Jojo. Thank you. Hello.
How do we call you?
Matt, it's just fine, please. Informal.
Okay, Matt. Before we ask you about the duties and responsibilities of your office, and we'd like to know first about your postings, your history as a diplomat.
Of course.
Tell us about your different
So I'm a
postings.
career diplomat.
Okay.
I've been in the service for about 16 years.
Oh, 16 years.
This is my fourth overseas assignment.
Okay.
Previously, in order, I served in Venezuela,
Oh, wow.
then Macedonia.
Where is Macedonia?
Macedonia is directly north of Greece, part of former Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
So a little landlocked country directly north of Greece. Beautiful country if you ever have a chance to visit it. After that, I served for about 3.5 years in Washington. Again, focused mostly on Latin American issues. Then I went to Brazil, spent 3.5 years in Brazil, and then I came here to Manila. So this is my first assignment in Asia.
Just a little background. Where did you go to school? I mean, what did you take up in college?
So I'm not a traditional diplomat. I'm not your prototypical diplomat. I studied marketing at the
wow.
University of Colorado. After I graduated, I went into the tech sector for a little while. Worked in marketing and communications for a variety of .com and tech companies, and eventually found my way to my passion, which is international policy and diplomacy. And in a sense, as a cultural attaché, I get to do marketing and communications for America. So
You've always been a cultural attaché, or you started in a different...
So as diplomats, we choose a career track. We're technically generalists. We can serve in any of 5 different kind of professions within diplomacy, which are political, economic, public diplomacy, management, and consular. But you choose one of those tracks. Mine is public diplomacy, which is the cultural and press relations for the U.S. government overseas.
So a technical marketer, an expert in technology and
Yeah,
marketing.
in a sense, yes.
And now you're a cultural attaché. So as a cultural attaché head in the U.S. Embassy, what are the responsibilities of your office here?
Well, my section is responsible for strengthening people-to-people ties between the United States and the Philippines, as well as advancing U.S. and bilateral policy priorities through direct people-to-people engagement and exchanges.
So far, what can you consider the one of the or the major accomplishments of the cultural attaché office here?
Well, it's almost impossible to enumerate. There's countless successes that I can point to. First of all, I think it's important to point out that the Philippines is one of the United States' closest friends, partners, and allies in the region. And through my office, we've maintained an exchange relationship with the Philippines that's one of the longest in the world. Our Fulbright Commission here just celebrated its 70th anniversary a year ago. Which is the oldest continually running Fulbright program in the world. So that shows you the depth and relationship of our exchanges. And those exchanges are just one of the more than 30 exchanges that my office manages. And through those, we send approximately 350 Filipinos on international exchanges every year.
How does one apply for any of these programs?
Well, the best way is to follow us on Facebook. Go to the embassy's Facebook page, follow us. We announce open applications for any of the exchange programs that we do on Facebook, as well as visit the Fulbright's website. In the Philippines, the Fulbright Commission is called the Philippine-American Educational Foundation, or PIAF, for people who know it. They also have announcements about how to apply for any of their number of academic scholarships. One of the big scholarship exchange networks, emerging leader networks that we manage here recently is the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative called YSEALI. This is a region-wide initiative. It has more than 140,000 members throughout ASEAN plus Timor-Leste now. And here in the Philippines alone, we have more than 25,000 YSEALI members. And they sign up through this network, and then they can also apply for academic or professional exchanges. We have a variety of grant project initiatives through there, lots of different programs to support community initiatives and strengthen Filipino communities.
So these are for young people.
22 to 35. We call it youth program, but I like to highlight that these aren't youth. These are emerging leaders. These are young adults, professionals. It includes a variety of people that are already serving very high levels in their local governments, vice mayors, vice governors, leaders of different community organizations, really spectacular young people. One of them, for example, a young woman named Anna Aposa. She was she was nominated. Yes, environmentalist. You know her. She was nominated one of the 40 under 40 environmentalists in the world last year, and she's a YSEALI member, one of our favorite program partners for YSEALI initiatives.
Don't you have any 60 over?
Yeah, same. I was about to ask that.
So our exchange
programs,
programs cover a wide range of ages and interests, professionally, academically. We have programs for people that are in high school, all the way up to mid-career professionals, through programs like the Humphrey Fellowship, which are research fellowships in the United States, doctoral programs. So yes, we cover a pretty broad range of opportunities for anyone that's interested in pursuing these programs.
Just travel grants? Just to move around the country?
Usually those are, research scholarships. They usually have a host institution. So they go and they work specifically with a university in the United States and pursue a specific line of research. And those are usually extended programs.
Do you have statistics on these grantees of scholarship programs of yours that are now contributing to the Philippine economy or to the Philippine society?
So it's interesting. As I mentioned, last year we celebrated the 70th anniversary of the Fulbright program here.
Wow!
And part of that celebration, we went back and looked at who some of the most prominent Fulbright exchange alumni have been, and started a Fulbright Hall of Fame. And you discover we've had a variety of national artists and scientists, several prominent politicians. So, and we still have a lot of them operating today, working with them. As I mentioned, we have people like Anna, who's doing amazing things as a young leader.
Is Napoleon Abueva?
I had Napoleon Abueva in my notes today to mention it, because I know you were thinking about asking me about some of the artists that I enjoy here. But Napoleon Abueva, yes, is a former Fulbright scholar. Other ones, Abdul Maria Mao, and son and grandson, all Fulbright scholars. Kidlot, who won National Artist of the Year last year, also a Fulbright scholar.
How long was he there?
Kidlot? I don't know exactly the program he went on, but it was a Fulbright program, so it was probably at least a semester, if not more.
You mean Kidlat, the father? Yeah, I mean the national artist.
Yes, the national artist. Yes.
Kidlat tahimik.
So and then a number of other people, politicians, business leaders. So we have a lot of exchange programs that have really developed the capacity of some of the Philippines' top artists, scientists, academics.
Who are you partnering locally for all these programs?
Who's that?
Who are you partnering locally for these programs?
So it really depends on the exchange program. Through a program like our YSEALI program, we partner with community organizations because those are really community-focused programs. So local governments, local NGOs, and civil society actors. And then depending on the other types of programs, we find all sorts of different local partners that help us implement these, help us identify candidates for different exchanges, or identify audiences. Different think tanks, educational institutions. So it's a pretty diverse set of partners that we use for a very diverse set of programs.
So you have local projects?
Yeah. So in addition to promoting exchanges, we have a variety of local engagements and projects that we do. A lot of different entrepreneurship programs. We've worked with organizations like Go Negocio, for example. We've worked with prominent local people, like Pia Wurzbach has partnered with us on a couple programs for LGBT facing programs, because she's an ambassador. She partnered with us For a women's program last year, we were working on women's empowerment for Women's History Month, and had her come out and partner with us to host a screening of Captain Marvel.
So that was a brief engagement.
That was a very brief one, yes. We also have long-term partnerships with different companies and organizations, whether it's implementing partners like a Synergia or the Asia Foundation.
Synergia
Yes.
has to do with education.
Yes, yes. So they work with us on a lot of our education programs. We'll partner with the local universities. So the Ateneo School of Government has partnered with us on occasion. We work a lot with De La Salle. As I mentioned to you briefly before the interview, we have American Corners, which are dedicated spaces to promoting U.S. values and culture, and they're in university libraries around the Philippines. We have 14 of those, including 7 in Mindanao. And these spaces range from anything to the size of this room to a whole floor of a library. And in Cagayan de Oro, for example, we have a whole floor of the library there. It's one of our premier spaces in the country. And these are also our partners that work with us through the universities and to reach these student populations and engage the local communities.
How does one partner with you? Like, can the Tribune partner with you on something?
Well, we're certainly always available to discuss things press-related, media-related, to help spread the word about our programs and engagements and activities. We do have a variety of programs working with journalism and local journalists to promote media literacy. If you're a nonprofit organization interested in promoting some of our objectives and initiatives, we do annually have an annual program statement that goes out that's a call for grants, basically. We ask for proposals based on bilateral priorities of the U.S. Embassy here. And again, through our embassy Facebook page, when we open that call, open that call for proposals, we'll send it out. So anyone that's interested, potentially partnering with the embassy or applying for grant opportunities.
We'll definitely follow you on Facebook.
Yes, that is the best place.
Friend requests?
Yes, we do. Yes,
Okay.
that is the best place to find out about all of our initiatives and everything that we're doing.
Okay, so let's get a little personal.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us about your experience in the Philippines. So what's your impression so far about the country?
Well, I've been here for a little bit more than 2 years now. I'm going to be here another 2 years. So far, me and my family have loved our time here. It's a wonderful place.
Tell us about your family first. Who's
So,
with you here?
Yes, so I'm married. I have 2 little boys. We've had a fantastic time here. Manila's a big, amazing city, chaotic sometimes, but it's also very Western in a lot of ways. You've got access to fantastic markets and malls and restaurants, amazing culture. So we've really enjoyed our time here as a family, and traveling around the Philippines is amazing. The opportunity to get out and enjoy some of the Philippines beaches and sights.
Yeah. Talking about travel and beaches, what places have you visited and which do you like best?
Well, I think probably personally, most impressive vacation so far is Palawan.
Which part of
El
Palawan?
Nido and Coron.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
both of those were really spectacular
Yeah,
visits.
I agree with you. I've been there.
I've had the opportunity to visit Bohol, Baguio, Tagaytay. Professionally, I go to Cebu a lot, work in Davao and CDO, get up to Iloilo sometimes. So I've had a pretty good chance to see a fair amount of the Philippines, but there's still a lot I want to see.
Have you been to Batanes?
No, I haven't.
You should go there. Take your family with you.
Yes.
Actually, it's a beautiful place.
Yes, I definitely would like to get up there.
Did you go to Lake Kayangan in Coron? That very
Yes.
Yeah, Lake Kayangan.
Yeah.
The lagoon there.
Yeah, no,
swim with the fish.
Yes, it's amazing. And I'm a scuba diver, so I love the opportunity to scuba dive a little bit in the Philippines, and still have a lot of scuba diving destinations I would like to get to.
Yeah. In Batangas, there's a lot of scuba diving sites there.
What about food? What do you like to eat? I mean, Filipino food.
Well, you know what I love? I love the diversity of cuisines you can get just in Manila. I mean, it's amazing. And Filipino culinary talent's really spectacular. So a lot of the places I've served, you're really restricted to just kind of the local cuisine. Here you can get every type of cuisine, and it's very well done. And chefs here really know their art and their craft, so it's really amazing. So I'm still working my way through different Filipino cuisines, which go from very, very kind of wild and out of the norm for us to some just very good, wholesome comfort food that you get in the Philippines.
I just have to ask, have you tried balut?
I have not tried balut yet, and
Did you
it's
try
not that
balut?
I'm unwilling to try balut. I keep telling my staff if they corner me at the right moment, they can give me balut, and I'll take it. Just make sure that I have a couple San Miguel's with me as well, and I'll be happy to try balut. But somehow they still have not managed to corner me in the right moment to get me to try balut.
You have a Filipino at home. I mean, someone who works for you. Does she cook for you?
No, so we have a helper for my children that takes care of my children, helps around the house and with all of the chores and things like that. But my wife's a very, very good cook and likes to do the cooking in the house. So
What do you do on weekends?
we enjoy, well, it depends. If it's a long weekend, we try and get out of town and enjoy the beach or the mountains, take as many opportunities as we can to do that. Sometimes travel around the rest of Southeast Asia if we can. If it's a regular weekend, we just get out and enjoy the Philippines. So go out to good restaurants, enjoy local opportunities. There's great museums. There's a really good nightlife. It's a fun city to be posted in.
Yeah. So tell us more about your family life here, and how are you and your family coping with the challenges in traffic, floods?
Well,
And what do you do outside of
where we
your-
live, we're not in very much risk of flooding for the most part. Traffic is a problem in any big city in the world. So a lot of the cities I've been posted, whether it's been in Caracas, in Venezuela, or in Brazil, you get bad traffic. Macedonia is a lone exception. There wasn't much traffic there. Manila's traffic is uniquely challenging. But my wife and I drive to and from work almost every day. So I go up and down EDSA right in rush hour. So we manage. It's not ideal, but I'd really say that's probably the only major complaint I would have about Manila is the traffic, and it's kind of a cliche complaint, isn't it?
So other than that, what else do you do outside of your diplomatic duties?
Well, I really love the work and live the work, and as a cultural affairs officer, a lot of my non-work hour stuff is also related to my work. It is attending different events and receptions and activities.
Watching all
So
this performance.
and it's wonderful. Yes, I get to get engaged in a lot of kind of Philippine culture and international culture just through the job. So it's enjoyable to do that. But
You must be involved in a lot of educational programs, no? Are you funding some Philippine programs that have to do with education?
so. Yes, we
aside
do.
from
Yes, a big
exchanges.
focus of our programmatic activities are educational programs. One subsection in my office is focused specifically on English programming.
Yeah.
And making sure that we don't get complacent on English in the Philippines and continue to
yes.
strengthen English in the Philippines and make sure that it's a competitive advantage for the Philippines because it has been for so long.
It does become our asset to be able to at
Yes,
least,
exactly. It's an important asset for the Philippines. So we work closely with the Department of Education, with public school teachers. We also do a lot of programs, educational programs in the aftermath of the Marawi crisis in Mindanao. So we do a lot of programs down there working on strengthening educational opportunities,
What
livelihood
exactly
initiatives.
when it comes to education, what exactly do you do? I mean, like
Specific program or
yeah.
specific initiatives?
So for an English program, for example, one example, just this last year, we worked with the Department of Education to, we brought a specialist from the United States that went to all the different educational districts of the Philippines, sat down, met with teachers, met with administrators of DepEd in those individual districts, talked to them about challenges, about best practices, what's working, what's not working in English education. Then we brought teachers from all those districts back to Manila for a conference to discuss these things, what's working, what's not, working closely with DepEd and their curriculum development to make sure that we're focused on the curriculum the right way. And then we actually sent about 16 of those teachers and administrators to the United States for a 2-week exchange program to learn best practices for specifically teaching English in bi and multilingual communities.
I suppose they come back.
Well,
Yes, of course, yes. That's one of the criteria always. And the goal is to have them come back and then expand those. And we're actually giving them subsequent, like, small follow-on grants to go and implement initiatives in their home communities to try
that's
and
good.
spread the knowledge and strengthen English in those. So we do a lot of programs like that.
is the Philippines getting better in the English language, or are we sliding?
I don't know. It's hard to say. And there's not a lot of kind of really reliable measures out there. I mean, my goal is to make sure that it continues to strengthen English because I'll tell you what, a lot of the other countries in the region are putting really big emphasis
yeah.
on building their English. Now, they're starting from a much bigger deficit than the Philippines in most cases, but there's a big investments in some countries in really promoting and strengthening English. So the Philippines can't afford to get complacent, and I want to help.
Do you belong to, well, of course you do, but how is the American community? How involved are you with other Americans here in the Philippines?
Well, the embassy is a very large embassy, so I'm very involved with the embassy community. We have interactions with the American community on several different occasions through different events and things like that. The Veterans Association here is very big.
Veterans.
We're beginning now the 75th anniversary, the commemoration of the end of World War
75th.
II.
Ah, yeah.
That will result in a lot of different events and activities throughout the coming year
In
that'll bring together.
2020.
Yes, yeah. So it kind of starts with Leyte Landing here in October, and then goes through around this time next year, all of the final year commemoration activities of World War II. And that'll probably bring together a lot of the veteran community, the Filipino-American community, to commemorate a lot of those activities and events. In general, though, most of my programs engagement are focused on engaging with the Filipino public, not so much focused on the American public. That said, the embassy, through its consular section, through the Social Security Administration, through the Veterans Affairs Administration, does engage a lot with Americans in the Philippines.
Are you happy with Philippine-American relations today?
Well, as I mentioned briefly before, the Philippines is one of the United States' oldest friends, partners, and allies in the region.
Yeah.
We have long history together, deeply shared kind of cultural synergies. The Philippine diaspora population, people living in the Americans of Philippine descent, is more than 4 million people at this point. There's more
4
than
million
Yes.
in the United States.
Yes, there's more than 3 million
Wow.
Americans, or maybe 300,000 Americans living here in the Philippines.
Really?
So we have this powerful, like, intertwined community between the Philippines and the United States. So it's actually really a wonderful place to do this type of work because the Philippines and the United States have this fantastic friendship, and we continue to be very
And
supportive of each
are
other.
you feeling some challenges regarding this friendship, considering that our present administration is not so fond of it?
Well, for what I can say at the working level, the people in government that I work with, all the partners that I work with here are outstanding partners. We have a really wonderful working relationship. Philippine public support of the United States
it's
continues to be
overwhelming,
overwhelmingly
Yes, of course.
high.
Yeah.
So really, for me, it's a wonderful working relationship, and I think we do a lot of wonderful things and have a lot of very impactful programs that continue to strengthen the relationship.
Do you feel safe in this country?
I do. I mean, I've spent a lot of time around the world working in Latin America in cities that are notoriously dangerous in some cases. So why Manila's a big city and it's a little chaotic, and certainly it does have its fair share of crime problems like any big crowded city does. I personally have not ever really felt in any danger or risk here.
Do your wife and your boys feel the same way?
Yeah, I think so.
How old are the boys?
So my oldest is 8 and my youngest
Oh,
is
yeah.
about to turn 5. So
Okay, so they're enjoying
Yes.
whatever comes their way. Yeah. So, what do you do during Christmas or one of those long holidays?
Well, the last 2 years we've actually stayed here for Christmas.
Really?
So yes, my family has come and visited us here in the Philippines during Christmas.
So they've experienced the longest Christmas celebration.
Well, they came during like actual Christmas. They didn't come in September and then stay through January 15th, which is when Christmas starts. Like we keep telling new officers, you got about 2 weeks until Christmas music starts in the Philippines. So, but yes, so they've been here for Christmas the last 2 years.
So, how do you find How do you find the way we celebrate Christmas? That long Christmas.
It's great. It's very American in a lot of ways. It's
starts in 2
longer
weeks,
than ours.
actually.
I mean, in the United States, we have Halloween and Thanksgiving that
Yeah.
kind of stop us from getting too early of a start on Christmas. But I always enjoy hearing Christmas music. So
Yeah.
I went to school in Colorado. So I do enjoy a white Christmas. I know I'm not going to get that in Manila, but I do love the Christmas season.
Yeah, here it officially starts on September 1.
Yes, I know the Burr months, right?
With the music on the radio. Now, I'm not pushing this, but do you have projects for the elderly?
I can't think of projects that we specifically do for elderly. We're all ears. We're open if you have an idea on projects. So we engage all of our alumni,
Yeah.
our exchange alumni.
Mm.
And they work with us on a lot of projects to promote
Yeah.
different initiatives and policy priorities. So we understand that there is a wisdom in our older exchange alumni, and we want them to spread that wealth of wisdom and wealth of knowledge amongst our younger alumni and our emerging leaders. So it's really important.
How about the ethno-cultural groups all over the Philippines? The Igorot, the Mangyan, all this.
So we have a variety of programs, not just through my section, but through other sections too, that engage indigenous groups and communities to strengthen kind of local governance and leadership. We have a variety of actual specific cultural programs that we've worked with throughout the years, whether it's through our Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation or Independent Cultural Heritage programs that have worked with different communities on preserving and documenting some of the native languages and dying languages. We worked with some of the traditional tattooing in the Cordillera region.
Really?
We have built heritage projects that try and conserve some of the major churches and cathedrals around the country.
Like where? Like
So the tattoo program is in Cordillera. It's in Baguio right now. So we're working with the museums up there. We have an ongoing project to document the Canaria language. Canaria, outside of Iloilo. I've never pronounced it right.
Yeah.
Canaria.
Okay, really?
Yes, so we have projects like that. We have a project right now that's just recently wrapped up to reconstruct a church in Eastern Samar that was damaged by Hurricane Yolanda. Yes, we just finished a project in Baguio, preserving the Baguio Museum up there and providing new exhibits there, celebrating Cordillera heritage. So we have these projects ongoing throughout the country at any given time.
Are the bells back?
Yes, the bells are back.
Balangig,
I went to Samar specifically
about
for the
this.
turnover ceremony, so I had the opportunity to be there specifically
Balangig.
in Balangig for the
Balangig
turnover
bells.
ceremony.
I see. Yeah.
But there are other bells that are still in possession of the U.S.
I don't.
I think there are
know.
more 10 bells that were taken as a souvenir during that Philippine-American conflict.
Okay, I was unaware of those. Obviously, the Balangiga bells were the most prominent. It was a wonderful moment to be able to have that opportunity to finally return those bells back to where they belong. So,
How about LGBTQ plus? What have you been doing in this area?
So we've
Aside
historically had lots of different programs. We support a variety of initiatives here locally to empower and give voice to LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Equality and equal opportunity are big priorities for the United States. Our political section focuses on LGBTQ initiatives specifically, but as I mentioned earlier, we've partnered with a variety of people on different programs, including Pia Wurzbach through one of her organizations to support LGBTQ initiatives and other programs that support equal opportunity and equal rights.
Do you plan on reaching out with Catriona Gray as well regarding that area? Because I think Catriona is our latest current Miss Universe is more
Focused on those
issues.
We would love to partner with her, obviously. She's very high profile and under high demand right now, so I think she's probably got her schedule full, but we are definitely interested and willing to partner with her as well on initiatives focused on that community and any other initiatives that she ends up deciding to advance.
There are a number of young leaders who have just been elected, like the Mayor of Manila, the Mayor of Pasig, the Mayor of San Juan.
San Juan, yes.
Yeah. Are you planning to work with them?
As much as possible. I mean, the Philippines is a young country. I think more than half the country is under 24 years old. It's more than 50 million Filipinos under the age of 24. So we recognize that the younger population of the Philippines is very much the future, and we need to do as much as we can to empower that population, especially as the Philippines economy continues to grow. The Philippines is right at the center of ASEAN, which is right at the center of the Indo-Pacific, and is an important country for the entire Asia-Pacific region. So we're dedicated to working with the younger population here and emerging leaders to strengthen the ties between the United States and the Philippines, but also to advance regional initiatives and priorities and secure the region and strengthen economic opportunities throughout the region.
What do you think should our young people take up? What courses should they take up in college?
Yeah, especially from a technology expert perspective.
Well, personally, I think they should all consider opportunities to study in the United States. One of my biggest priorities is try to encourage more Filipinos to pursue opportunities in overseas education, whether it's short-term programs, a simple semester abroad, or a full degree program. I feel like the more people you can participate in student exchange with, the more you strengthen the ties between a country, between two countries long term. When someone's had a formative experience in another country, whether it's an American coming here to the Philippines or a Filipino going to the United States, that creates a lifelong bond. And right now, that's another one of the subsections of my office, our Education USA office.
Okay. So you mean not necessarily grants?
Not necessarily grants, just studying in the United States. So any Filipino that's interested in studying in the United States, we have an office in my section, the cultural section, that can provide them free advising and free counsel on how to pursue U.S. higher educational opportunities, how to look for financial aid, how to research programs, how to find the right university, how to go through the process of applying for universities, applying for their visa. We even provide a pre-departure orientation for people who have been accepted to U.S. universities and are departing for that first semester. So that's one of my biggest priorities right now is increasing the number of Filipinos that are studying in the United States. It's very low compared to some of the other countries in the region, and considering you have this young English-speaking population in the Philippines.
You have many financial assistance programs, or?
The U.S. government itself doesn't, but once you dig in and look at the universities in the United States, a lot of them offer different financial aid opportunities, merit-based scholarships, needs-based scholarships, depending on a person's. Yes, even for international. Yes, even for international students. Yes, we have a long list of Filipino students who have received scholarships, small to very significant to full scholarships at U.S. universities based either on their need or on merit, on outstanding academic or other skills.
Of course, I guess they have to take this entrance exam.
You have to qualify.
The graduate. How do you call that?
If you're going to graduate school, yes. If it's for an undergraduate program, then the SAT, which is our high school proficiency exam. But that's another thing that we provide advice, counseling, help on figuring out is how to take those exams, what exams you need to take, how to prepare for those exams.
I see, yeah. Okay.
So,
you don't have, I wonder if you know about the pensionados, the pre-war scholars who were brought to the States.
I don't have a whole lot of background detail. I've heard of them, but I don't know. I don't know a lot of the details.
Have you been trying to put together the data on the number of Filipinos who have been there and what they're doing for the country now, and how extensive is your data on this matter?
Well, so as I've mentioned, we try to continue to engage with alumni, people who return from paid exchange programs. Anybody that's been involved in a Fulbright exchange, our YSEAL exchanges, our International Visitors Leadership Program, any of the other exchanges we do, we try to stay in contact with them. We have community groups of alumni around the Philippines, either geographically or by program, that we continue to engage, provide support to, work with very closely. It's something we didn't do a great job of for a long time, is staying engaged with our return exchange alumni. Now we've really stepped up our efforts and focus on that, and I have a team in the embassy that's focused specifically on engaging alumni. We also have a variety of tracking mechanisms for figuring out the basic numbers, how many people are studying in the United States from the Philippines each year. So there's the U.S. State Department has an open doors report that tracks that number for countries all around the world. So I use that as a measure of success as we try to encourage more Filipinos to study in the United States. If we can keep that number growing, better even yet.
Are you supporting literature? Philippine literature in English?
One of our programs is the International Writers Program. It's a intensive program for premier international writers that we send. It's a very small program, very select.
Okay.
We've been very good in the Philippines. It's an international program. We've been very good in the Philippines in getting 1 or 2 writers on it every year, every other year for a long time. So
who have been these writers?
So off the top of my head, I can't remember the specific names. It's actually interesting you mention this because he's not IWP alumnus, but when I first was assigned to the Philippines, I was looking for some good historical fiction to read about the Philippines.
Okay.
So came across the Rosales Saga by Francisco Jose.
But
Yeah,
of course.
And I was reading the Rosales Saga. When I arrived here, shortly after my arrival, I had the chance to meet him personally. He was good friends with our former deputy chief of mission, Michael Kluczewski.
Yes.
And so then got to go out and meet him and have had an opportunity to spend time with him several times since. So for me, that was very cool, being able to spend time with a writer that I was reading at that moment. And someone who I respect very much intellectually and creatively, and kind of pick his mind about a book that I had read. And through him, I've also had a chance to meet several other Philippine novelists. Writers.
He has his protégés. No?
Yes.
He's like the master that they look up to. But there's also a writing workshop in the South, in Silliman University. I think you should support that one. It was founded by a couple who went to Iowa.
Oh, that's the program. That's the International Writers Program. So that is, we are helping them.
Oh, that's
that
good.
program. That's the boat that goes
one.
there. That's the program. It's in Iowa.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more message to the American people living in the Philippines?
Well, I mean, anyone that's fresh here, enjoy it. Have a great time. It's a wonderful, welcoming country. Tons of things to see and do. Interesting opportunities. I'm looking forward to the remainder of my tour here the next couple of years.
Which should be for quite a long
Two more years.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So we get to see you more often.
Yes. So it's
you should be seeing a lot of comfy.
Traditionally a 3-year tour. We enjoyed it so much that my family and I decided to extend to a 4th year.
Oh, that's
Do you want to
nice
extend
hear.
more?
I don't think they'll like
No.
me. They got to keep us moving. Otherwise, we get island fever. We take in the country we're in too much. And
Do you need to go back to the States for like 2 years before you go somewhere else?
there aren't strict requirements on that, but from a career development and career growth perspective, people typically do every few tours. But we're foreign service officers. The focus of our career is to serve overseas.
Well, maybe when you return here already, we will be calling you ambassador already. Hopefully.
Is that part of your career direction?
It can be. The
it's your
current
choice.
ambassador, Ambassador Kim, is a career diplomat.
Yeah.
He's been doing this his whole career and rose to the ranks to ambassador and has been an ambassador in several countries now. But the ambassadors are part career ambassadors and part political appointees. So.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right. Okay, final question. Actually, it's not a question. It's a request for you to talk to the Filipino youth and to tell them how they can avail of all your programs and projects.
Well, as I mentioned, the U.S. Embassy is dedicated to providing capacity building opportunities, to empowering the Philippine youth. As the slogan for our Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative says, or YSEALI says, you're never too young to lead. And we'd like to be here and help support you as you pursue those leadership endeavors. So if you're interested in finding out more about U.S. programs, U.S. opportunities, exchange opportunities, grants programs, educational opportunities, check out the U.S. Embassy at our Facebook page. Also, have a look at the Philippine-American Educational Foundation, or PIAF. It's a Fulbright Commission of the Philippines for academic opportunities. And Education USA Philippines, if you're interested in pursuing any higher education opportunities in the United States. Through all those different resources, you can find out more about all the programs that we have to offer and begin applying for programs. We look forward to hearing from you.
Just a PS, can they study there for free? Just so.
Well, nothing's free, but you can get academic scholarships, financial assistance, aid, depending on merit, depending on your needs. So we have lots and lots of students who are Filipino students studying in the United States and receiving significant financial assistance, aid, or scholarships for those studies.
Okay. Thanks so much, Matt. It's been a pleasure having the cultural attaché of the United States Embassy in the Philippines, Mr. Matt Keener.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
It's
being
been
here.
a pleasure. Appreciate
It's
it.
a pleasure to be here. Yeah, what is it?